Ready to get mad again?
No?
Well, this is one of those news stories where we're not actually going to read the news story because it's too infuriating. Um, but
Oh, okay.
it's something we should talk about. Nikki Haley
Shh.
writes, "Finish them" on Israeli artillery shell.
What? But what?
Nikki Haley wrote, "Finish them"
Y-
on an Israeli artillery shell.
I, okay.
Yeah. So, remember how we're talking about how Israel is all like genocidal and shit? And how
Yeah.
we're all like genocide is bad?
Yeah, she's just like,
She's
no.
just like, nah,
Genocide good,
finish them.
actually.
I'm okay with bombing children. With this, like, the bomb that she wrote finish them on is probably going to kill children.
Yeah, statistically, because Israel's fucking attacked Rafah. They're just like, hey, look at this camp of places that you need to go to stay alive. It's not safe anymore. We're bombing it.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, this is where I don't want to read the article because the article is depressing. But, like,
I,
just keep in mind.
Unfortunately, we're already here.
No, keep in mind. Nikki Haley is the former UN ambassador. She was the former ambassador to the United Nations from the United States. She
Mm-hmm.
is she is basically the watered down version of Trump.
She was also the governor of South Carolina.
Yeah, but my point is, like, she's watered down Trump. So keep in mind, watered down Trump is actively writing "finish them" on bombs used to kill children. So, like, what is actual Trump going to do? So, like, this is one of those things where, like, people saying Joe Biden is genocide Joe, so a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for genocide. It's like, okay, but a vote not for Joe Biden effectively works in Trump's favor. It might not be a vote for Trump, but it works in Trump's favor. And this is like watered down Trump is actively over there signing bombs. So, yeah, no, like Joe Biden has been putting pressure on Israel to stop doing genocidal shit. Sure, he hasn't gone anywhere near far enough. But you think the guy that moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem is going to be better? Absolutely not. And like, yeah, like the people that are saying, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for anyone because I can't vote for genocide." Um,
It's
if you
effectively
if
voting
you
for genocide, though.
don't like, someone is going to be in charge of the United States, and that someone is going to be either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. One of them is way more genocidal than the other.
One of them smoke
So,
bombed our own people so that he could do a fucking photo shoot at a church holding a Bible upside down.
yeah,
One of these people is more responsible than the other.
yeah. So, like, if you are actually anti-genocide, maybe vote for the guy who is actually trying to put pressure on Israel to be less genocidal. Like, yeah, like I said, he's not going anywhere near far enough. He needs to do better. Absolutely, 100% I agree with
And
you on that.
and there are people who are going to say, well, he's only doing that because of pressure from lefties.
Yes.
And at that point you go, yeah,
Okay.
you're right. You know who's not going to have any pressure from lefties at all? Trump.
And do you know? Okay, so like people are saying, "Oh, if I don't vote, that's sending a message that I'm not willing to support him."
No,
Like,
the
okay,
fuck it's
you
not.
know what? You know who politicians try to appease? People who go out to vote. You know who politicians don't give a fuck about appeasing? People who
People
don't
who don't
vote.
vote.
So if you don't vote, what you're sending the message to them is that they don't need to worry about what you want because you're not going to vote.
Like, you've got to remember that as far as politicians are concerned, there is no difference between a United States with a population of 150,000 and a population of 150,000 voters. Those are the same statement to them because you may as well not exist in terms of their stats and numbers if you're not going to show up and actually put in your ballot.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're not going to vote, then they're not going to try and appeal to you. So if you actually do get out and vote, so this is what I've been saying: is you send your message in the primary by voting for the most progressive candidate, or in the case, I think it was Michigan that did this, where they actually, like, a bunch of people organized a thing where they went out and voted, like, registered as not voting, specifically, and that was explicitly, and it was a massive movement, and it was explicitly to get Joe Biden to put pressure on Israel to not be genocidal, and that worked. He changed his position after that happened, because the people who were going out to vote made their opinions known, and so he changed things so that he could appeal to the voters. But like, if you just stay home, that doesn't
you're not a
send
voter
the same
anymore.
message. You're not a voter. He doesn't need to appeal to you. So, like, yeah, no. Not voting for Joe Biden is effectively letting Donald Trump take over, where he is going to be worse for Israel than... Or worse for Israel. No, he's going to be better for Israel. He's going to be worse on the issue of genocide.
Yeah, like, it's... And in terms of the genocide thing in general, Trump will be worse overall than Biden anyways. Remember, while Trump was president, he specifically made certain that things happened to transgender people. He took transgender people out of the pool of people who could actually apply for the military and made it to where you could get kicked out of the military if you were trans, something that Biden actually lifted and took away from what Trump had originally put through. That's a very, very important thing, because if you are someone who's trans in the United States, you don't have access to adequate health care. We all know that. The military is one of your few ways that you can actually get that shit guaranteed. It's why we have a higher representation of trans people per the other, like, there's more people in the military who are trans compared to the rest of the general population that is trans than people who go into the military who are cis, because it's seen as a path forward to transition. So if you get Trump back, there is one guaranteed thing that's going to happen, is he's going to be reversing something that was already reversed once before, and that's going to be actively bad for other trans people. Also, yeah, if he wins, we get Project 2025, which I shouldn't have to explain is a nightmare, but there's a huge goddamn document going over why that is a nightmare.
Yep. And 10VP says, voting for Biden for me is not for him, but a continuation of a lot of good progress we've made in a lot of small areas. Most people don't notice that will have big impact later. Trump would derail it. Absolutely. So one of the things that gets missed in this whole Biden debate, because absolutely Biden has not done enough on a lot of things, but it is undeniable that Biden is the most progressive president you guys have ever had in history. Just hands down, by ways of policies that he's supported, and executive orders he's signed, things that he's tried to do and sometimes failed. He is the most progressive president you've ever had. So, like, yeah, it sucks that most of his legacy is like, I'm good because I'm not Trump. I wish he had to actually do shit to be considered good, instead of just being the guy who is not Trump. But the fact of the matter is that he has done shit, and he has supported shit that would not have happened under previous administrations.
He unfortunately gets the label of he unfortunately gets to have the label of Genocide Joe, because he just happens to be the president who took power during the October 7th stuff. And
that's the thing. Like, as the president of the United States, doesn't matter what party you're with, it would be political suicide to actually not support Israel.
Correct. It would be considered anti-Semitic by the general public, who's not very well informed. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, a thing that I've mentioned before, information I got from a friend who actually has family that have worked within the Republican Party. Turns out that one of the biggest problems with trying to do anything in regards to Israel is that, unlike Palestine, Israel is a trade partner with the United States. So it's political suicide to not treat it as if it is an important trade partner with us. And they are specifically a weapons trade partner with us. And we are in every way, shape, and form a military glorifying state. So all things considered, it is a huge damned if you do, damned if you don't on our part.
I think the Morbid Palace disagrees with my take that Biden is the most progressive president that there's ever been. Which is fine. You're allowed to disagree with that, but I think you're wrong.
I think that he might not be the most progressive in terms of what's in his heart of hearts.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't care what's in his heart of hearts. I care what policy he's signed.
Yeah, and like, I don't. Okay, so the Morbid Palace is saying yes. So yes, you disagree. Yeah, no, I agree that, like, in his heart of hearts, maybe he's less progressive, but, like, policy-wise, he has implemented he's implemented protections for LGBTQ people that are unprecedented. He's like the student loan forgiveness that, like, yeah, he could have done more in regards to that, but, like, he did a lot. Like, yeah, Teddy Roosevelt.
Thank you for the
grew up
follow,
with
Mefren.
Monopolies. I think Roosevelt is the one that you have the most, like, that would be the best argument for someone that might have been more progressive. It's hard to compare, like, different eras, because, like, Roosevelt would probably not have been as pro LGBTQ as Biden is.
Like, I
But,
would
like,
say
that's a hard thing.
The...
That's a hard thing to measure just based on, like, where general public. Yeah, fine.
Roosevelt,
where the general public opinion was at the time. So, like, it's yeah.
So in terms of what Roosevelt did, the biggest thing is we
made Fennec rage quit the knitting. I'm sorry, Fennec.
he unironically created the modern Republican Party. I'm not saying that as a bad thing.
Well, that was back when. Oh no, sorry, you're saying the modern Republican. Okay, yeah.
Yes, so because his governing was considered as popular as it was, it forced the Republicans to go seek the demographic that we are now suffering from now. That's not a bad thing. That is me saying, yeah, he was both progressive and effective enough for his time within the confines of what that, particular Overton window would allow for, that happened, that kind of zeitgeist and political shift that we probably will never see again in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
He was able to catalyze by enacting the policies that he did. So
I may have been a bit more absolutist in my language than I probably should have been. But I think functionally speaking, Biden has been the most progressive, like, whether or not he actually believes that himself or whether he's doing it for political points, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he actually, because, like, you look at how the Obama administration worked out, they were way more conservative than they, like, yeah, Obama was, like, he's remembered fondly, generally speaking. As time goes on, we're remembering more of the drone strikes and less of the progressiveness, because Obama was a bit of a war hawk. And Biden was right there through the whole thing, not holding him back, and not to say that he necessarily could have. But, like, he wasn't exactly vocal about being progressive
to it.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly vocal about being all progressive back then. So, like, I think, and you look at, like, his history in the Senate or in Congress or whatever. No, I don't think Biden is actually as progressive as he is behaving right now. But that doesn't matter because he is behaving that way right now.
Jassa says, isn't Reagan the big face of the modern day Republican Party? Yes, but so you are correct that Reagan is the modern face of the Republican Party, but the shift that caused the Republican Party as we know it to exist was the Southern strategy, and the Southern strategy happened in large part due to a response to what FDR was doing, to his policies. The Southern strategy basically had to happen because if it did not happen, there was going to be no opposition to the now culturally shifted Democrats. The Republicans would not have a platform to stand on anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this story was sent to me by Katini, who I saw in the chat earlier, but I'm not sure if they're still around. Hopefully they are, because their story made it in. Anyway.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability that Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie-chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.